Hey everyone, and welcome back for another episode of the Cutting Room 101, and this week's topic was chosen by Jordan from Rowanette, and the topic will be about our favorite movie opening. I was originally going to pick Raiders of the Lost Ark, but I've talked about that movie so many times on my main channel, and I've mentioned it already on this channel, so I thought I'd pick something different, and that movie is Scream. For me to be able to talk about the opening and really express why I like it so much, I have to spoil it, so if you haven't seen Scream, then you might want to turn this video off unless you just don't care. Otherwise, I'm forewarning you, there's going to be some spoilers. I remember watching this movie back on VHS for the first time, and what really shocked me about this opening is that usually when you see the main actor or actress on the cover of the movie, that means they're going to be in the movie for a long time and they're probably not going to die, or at least they'll live until the end of the film. But not the case with Scream. Drew Barrymore's on the front cover, and she dies in the opening scene, and that's what shocked me. I thought that she may get hurt, but she would at least live through the scene, but nope, she dies, and I think that it was really brutal, and that's what also really shocked me, of how brutal it really was, and the fact that her parents are walking home as she's dying just around the corner of the house, and if they would have gone around the corner, they could have seen that their daughter was dying and they could have tried to save her, but instead they didn't know she was dying, and I just thought it was really creepy that she was murdered right when her parents were coming home. But besides the fact of how shocking and intense the opening scene is, I just think it's really well filmed. The opening is really able to build tension, and I think a really cool way of building tension was through the use of popcorn. I just think it's really cool how they use popcorn to create an intense atmosphere by having Drew Barrymore's character put popcorn on the stove, getting ready to pop it, and as the aluminum foil rises, so does the intensity of the scene, and you're just waiting for this popcorn to explode, but you're also waiting for the killer to appear on screen, and I just like how they intercut between Drew Barrymore's character on the phone and the popcorn on the stove. When I watch horror movies, I like to guess where the killer is, and I thought it was just awesome how Drew Barrymore's character kind of does the same thing throughout the scene, and the movie's really self-referential on horror movies, and that's what I love about the Scream franchise. But the killer will tell her to open certain doors or go certain places, and she doesn't want to because she thinks the killer's gonna be there. And it's always a surprise where the killer actually is, and I thought they just did an excellent job with that. I also like movie trivia, so the fact that the killer would quiz people about movies, I thought that was a really neat and original idea, and I found myself trying to answer the questions right along with Drew Barrymore's character. And I remember on the question where he asks about Friday the 13th and who was the killer, this is, I guess, another spoiler for that movie if you haven't seen it. I guessed Jason Voorhees along with Drew Barrymore, and once I found out I was wrong and that it was Jason's mother because this was before I had seen those movies, I was really surprised by that as well, and I thought, oh, I would have died too. And another creepy thing about the opening is that the killer can be anywhere, because 30 years ago in horror movies, if the killer was talking on a phone, it would have to be a landline, so they'd have to be tied down to an area where there would be a landline, so you'd kind of have a general idea of where they could be. But since this movie came out around the time when cell phones were becoming more popular and more affordable, and they were in more people's houses, the killer can be anywhere. You don't know if he's outside, if he's in the house, or where, and that's what really scared me the most. And since Scream was pretty much single-handedly the cause of the creation of caller ID, you know the movie's doing something right. And the only thing more shocking than Scream's opening is its ending. And I think it still really holds up today, even though I know exactly how it's gonna end. I think it's just as intense as when I first saw it because of the tension it creates and because of how well filmed it is. So that's my pick for one of my favorite openings of all time, and if you like this channel, please subscribe, and if you're not already subscribed to my main channel, FilmRecall, and you'd like to be, you can click the link below. And stay tuned tomorrow to hear from Anthony from the Random Mind on his favorite opening. See you then.